is your American dream?
I would like to see just more unity, less racism and discrimination.
Living American dream to me is when we are able to be who we are without fear and to be happy with who we are without fear.
For me, it's just helping my family in the Philippines while I'm still here and just having all that I need, basic needs, just right now.
Everyone has a right to the American dream. Welcome, everybody. It is Brad Show Live. As you can see, I am in my living room. We're doing Pop-Up Monday today. We did Pop-Up Friday. We're doing Pop-Up Monday today. It is Monday, November 9th. In all transparency, we had a COVID scare in our office on Friday. And as a result, we're all taking precautions. We all went and got our COVID tests, and thank God, knock on wood, everybody seems to be okay. We are getting our office disinfected, and hopefully we will be back in our studios tomorrow. But in the meantime, the show's got to go on. It's Pop-Up Monday. Let me say hello to the squad, see what's happening with the squad. Let me say hello to Jessica Leamy, Joelle Reed, squad up. How are you? Christy Kinsali, squad up, everybody. Dip Fab, Cake Affairs, squad up team. Elizabeth Francis, how are you? Joan Ambitious Powell, squad up. Dion Watson, squad up. Brad Ulissa Eubanks, saying hello. Sasha Ford, squad up. How are you? Carol Anderson, the Tiger, says hi, Brad. Team, squad up. It's Brad solo today. No team, no yo-yo, no Vanessa. We'll all be back tomorrow for sure. I promise you that. By the way, leave your questions in the comment section of both YouTube and Facebook. We're going back to the old pandemic quarantine pop-ups, although I'm not under quarantine. If you remember a few months ago, we would just leave the questions. I can't take calls from home. I can take calls from the studio, but I'm not in the studio. I'll be there tomorrow. So leave all your immigration questions in the comment section. We're going to do all social media today. Carol Anderson, the Tiger, what's happening? Christy Kinsali, I said hello already. Elizabeth Francis, squad up. How are you, my dear? And Willie L. Williams, capital SQUADUP, squad up. He is saying it loud and he is saying it clear. Natisha Gordon, squad up. My Biden family. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Elizabeth Francis, she saw the squad family are in high spirits for the new president and our dearest Vice President, Kamala Harris. You're right. You're right. You're right. I mean, how much longer do we have to talk about the pumpkin? Probably another 4, 6, 8 weeks. And then we say, na, 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 hey, 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 goodbye. Let's say hello to Dawn Harriet, squad up. How are you? Denisha Joseph, same Brad, my love. How are you? How are you, Denisha? Dion Watson. And let's see what's going on YouTube. Sammy saying, hey, Brad and squad, how are you? Isila Enots, squad. I can't even, I'm saying squad up. I'm not squatting. It's squad up. Squad up. Where am I getting this sound from? I have to, I'm saying, 1 second. Squad up, Brad. And Salio Ba, good evening, Brad. How was your weekend? And the squad can a conditional green card. We're going to get to your questions in a little bit, I promise you. And squad up Tania Mo, Moya Lee, Miloslav Minkoff, Carol, the Top Cat Tigress, Jewel MCAA, like YMCA, but she is Jewel MCAA. I got to remind everybody, if you like our show, the best way that you can help me help others is to share this with your friends and family. It's so easy to do. All you got to do is there's a button on the bottom. Let's start with YouTube. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to share YouTube right now to, first of all, I'm going to press the thumb up. I went from 4 to 5. And there's a share button right next to on the YouTube, and it says you can send it to a Facebook, Blogger, Reddit, Tumblr. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to send it to a friend, and I'm going to say in WhatsApp, as I'm talking to you, I'm going to say in WhatsApp to my friend, hey, watch me. I'm on. On Facebook, is this your first time watching? I'm getting a poll. Nope. I've been part of the Brad Squad for a while. I just voted. I hope everybody else is voting on Facebook. And you can also share this to your friends and family. You could start your own watch party if you really wanted to. You can do a lot of different things. But in the meantime, one other thing. You can call my office and you can make an appointment to see me, but you can't call. It's the same 1-800 number, 1-800-529-5465. But you can't call to get on our show today. As I said at the top of the show, I'm doing old school pandemic quarantine pop-up, and we're just going to be taking your social media questions in the comment section. But of course, you know, we have big doings going on right now. We have a new president that's coming in. We want to talk about it in something we like to call schmoozing. Well, Joe Biden, he can certainly claim the American people have handed him a mandate. More than 74 million people voted for Joe Biden as of November 6th. There's more votes coming in. There's more votes being counted. Joe Biden received more votes than any other president in the history of the United States. 74 million people. Now, Trump, he can boast too. Pumpkin can boast too. He received the second most votes in the United States history with 70 million votes, but he got 4 million fewer than Joe Biden. What it really shows is that people were energized, whether you were energized for Joe Biden, whether you were energized for Donald Trump, people were energized for this election. It was an extraordinarily important election with what's going on with race relations in the United States of America, our economy, COVID, the way that the United States is presenting itself on the world stage, the total racism that comes out of this man's mouth in Washington, D.C. It really energized lots of people. People were literally dancing on the streets in New York. They were dancing on the streets in Atlanta, all over where there was Democratic and Biden support. They were dancing on the streets. I want you to know, I spoke with Jilly. I was so thrilled that Joe Biden won. I didn't know what was going to happen with our country and our world. God forbid Pumpkin won again. In a victory speech in Wilmington, Delaware on Saturday night, Joe Biden pledged to be a president who seeks not to divide, but to unify. He added, we must make the promise of this country real for everybody, no matter their race, their ethnicity, their faith, their identity, or their disability. I want you to know, I spoke with Trump supporters. I spoke with people who voted for Trump. They were very, very surprised. Joe Biden came out and said, I want to be a president for everybody. I said, well, he's been saying that for 6 months already. What have you not been listening? They were extraordinarily surprised that Trump was not gracious and conceded defeat. And I said, we knew he wasn't going to concede defeat. We knew he's going to fight tooth and nail to the bitter end. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But the fact is that hopefully Joe Biden will begin to heal our country. Kamala Harris, the daughter of immigrants, the first woman, the first Black person, and the first South Asian American, is going to hold the title of Vice President of the United States of America. The Biden-Harris victory comes in the same year as the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. Now, over 200 years after the United States' first presidential election, 100 years after women were given the right to vote, we are finally going to see a female vice president. Kamala Harris paid tribute to her mother, who immigrated to the United States from India at the age of 19, and celebrated finally breaking the stubborn glass ceiling, adding, I may be the first woman in this office. I won't be the last. Biden only vaguely referenced Donald Trump, calling for the end of this grim era of demonization, and added, "It's time to put away the harsh rhetoric, to lower the temperature, to see each other again, to listen to each other again." It's very interesting. World leaders were congratulating Joe Biden from all over the world. It's very interesting. The few world leaders who didn't say much: Vladimir Putin in Russia, Balsandro from Brazil, the Chinese prime minister. I wonder why they were very quiet. Now, from Trump still, as we said, has not publicly accepted that he lost the 2020 election, and Republicans in his inner circle, they're kind of divided now on what they should be doing. There's one group, Jared Kushner, First Lady Melania Trump, they're advising Donald, to come to terms with Biden's victory, sources tell CNN. But two adult sons, Donald Jr. and Eric, they're urging allies to continue to fight. Now, with no proof of any of his claims, Donald Trump's campaign is planning a blitz of messages and propaganda and pushing out legal challenges designed to cast doubt on the results and delay the certification of the United States election. Many top congressional Republicans have either been silent or urged Donald Trump not to concede. Two very important Republicans have already congratulated Joe Biden. President George W. Bush, W., and Senator Mitt Romney. Both, Bush was Republican president for 2 terms. Senator Mitt Romney ran for president on the Republican ticket. They are among those who have congratulated Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris on their win. As we talked about, celebrations erupted around the world. In Washington, D.C., elated crowds gathered outside the White House, erupting in cheers that seemed as celebratory over Trump's loss as they were over Biden's victory. In New York, people were cheering. They were honking their car horns. They were stomping on Cheetos in the street. And all over the world, people celebrated Joe Biden's victory, from setting off fireworks in the United Kingdom to ringing church bells in Paris. When do we ever hear church bells ringing in Paris over the United States election? When do we see fireworks going off in the United Kingdom? What a relief, not only for many in the United States, but for people around the world. Overjoyed people in Kamala Harris's Indian grandfather's hometown, they set off firecrackers and offered prayers on Sunday. Kamala Harris' grandfather was born in India. But not everyone was celebrating. In Colorado Springs, several hundred Trump supporters gathered outside City Hall after driving in caravans from Denver and other parts of the state. The crowd waved Trump flags, chanted 4 more years, and let out cheers as speakers of the rally claimed the victory was stolen from Donald Trump. Now, Biden already has big plans for his first day in office. He plans to issue a series of executive orders to undo many of the policies that Donald Trump put into place. His transition team has outlined COVID-19, economic recovery, racial equity, and climate change as priorities. I can almost assure you that he is going to extend executive orders for the DREAM Act. So dreamers will be able to stay here in the United States of America while a legislative compromise between the Democrats and Republicans, hopefully for immigration, comes through. People were asking me, Brad, what do you think is going to happen? What I found very interesting about this election was that I don't know so much that it was an election where the Democrats won. It was really an election where Donald Trump lost. People hated this guy so much they would have literally voted for almost anybody. You don't want to say almost anybody, because you got to give Joe Biden and Kamala Harris credit. They got the wins in Pennsylvania. They got the wins in Michigan, in Wisconsin, in Arizona, in Nevada, and they are damn close to winning Georgia too. So you got to give them credit. I don't know if others would have won those states, but it was certainly a repudiation of Donald Trump, Donald Trump's policies, the vitriol and racism that comes out of the White House. People were just simply tired of living with this man as our leader for 4 more years. What is interesting, though, is that although they repudiated Donald Trump, they didn't necessarily, go all in for the Democrats. A lot of the Democrats who we thought were going to win Senate seats did not win. Many House Democrats lost their election. Biden did not pull in on his coattails many congressmen and senators that normally get pulled in for the winning presidential candidate. What does that mean for immigration? What does that mean for the United States of America? It means that you're going to see a very centrist policies by Joe Biden. You're going to see more Bill Clinton than you're going to see Bernie Sanders. You're going to see more your traditional Democratic priorities than you're going to see progressive priorities of AOC, for example. The reason is they will not be able to pass any of that. Why? Because even if there's two Senate seats that are still up for grabs in Georgia, assuming that both Democrats, by the way, are not in the lead at the moment, but assuming they come out on top and win, the Senate would be divided 50-50. Kamala Harris would be the deciding vote. So presumably you would say, well, the Democrats will be able to pass whatever agenda Biden wants. No, well, not necessarily, because, some Democrats are more progressive, some are more conservative, some are going to hold up complete legislations for their own priorities. And I would say more likely than not, unfortunately, it's going to be a situation where Mitch McConnell has a razor thin lead, Republican lead, and you're going to see Joe Biden most likely, what in my belief, he's going to bring a lot of moderate Democrats, a lot of perhaps very liberal Republicans, your Rockefeller Republicans, those who are more socially liberal and fiscally conservative, into the fold to try to make a bridge between that razor edge minority that they have in the Senate to build a coalition of more liberal Republicans, more moderate Democrats, more centered legislation. So you're going to see incremental changes in environmental policy, incremental positive changes in immigration, presumably you may see tax cuts reversed, but you're not going to see the huge tax increases on wealthy that I know the progressives wanted to see. You're not going to see huge wholesale changes in many of the things that people wanted to see, simply because they don't have that majority in the Senate to do it. You're going to see incremental changes. It's my opinion. We'll see what happens, but I'm telling you what I think is going to happen. Meanwhile, the Trump campaign, they're going to continue their fight to challenge the outcome of the election, even as much of the world has moved on and has recognized Joe Biden as the winner. This morning, staff was summoned to campaign headquarters in Virginia for a meeting led by Trump campaign manager Bill Stepien and lawyer Justin Clark to talk about the next steps. Clark told staff not to mistake a lack of motion for lack of progress, as the campaign is going to seek legal action in Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada to overturn those particular states. That's where they're going to concentrate. Overturn the election in Pennsylvania, overturn the election in Georgia, overturn the election in Arizona, Nevada. There's not a lot of people at this moment who believe they're going to do it. Certainly the stock market doesn't believe they're going to do it. The stock market went to new highs today in celebration of Joe Biden's victory. Now, some of the lawsuits, they've already been dismissed by the courts. Others, Rudy Giuliani, Trump's lawyer, says they're going to be brought. We'll see what happens. We still don't know what this fraud is. They're saying fraud, 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 fraud. We haven't seen what it is. Now, you're always going to find in an election, there's always a dead man who voted. There's maybe even 20 dead people who voted or 50 dead people who voted. You're always going to find that. But in a situation, and I've talked about this before, in a situation where Joe Biden won by 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000 votes in a state, you are not going to find a situation where 50, 60, 70,000 dead people is what Donald Trump is alleging voted. You're not going to find that situation. So I think they're going to have a very hard, almost impossible time overturning any of these election results. If there was real fraud, we would have heard about it. They would have been screaming it from the hilltops. They don't have facts to back it up. So they're just yelling fraud, 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 fraud. Where's the beef? As if you remember the Wendy's commercial, that old lady, where's the beef? We haven't seen any beef yet. Now, we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, while Biden plans a response to the pandemic, it seems as though one of the last acts of the Trump administration will be firing Secretary of Defense Mark Esper before he could resign. Trump announced on Twitter Monday that he has fired Secretary of Defense Mark Esper and that Christopher Miller, who serves as director of the National Counterterrorism Center, will become acting secretary effective immediately. Esper's increasingly tense relationship with Trump led him to prepare a letter of resignation weeks ago, an attempt to fashion a graceful exit in the widely expected event that the president decided he was going to be fired, and obviously he was. Now, Esper had been pushing back against Trump since 2019 when he urged Trump to release aid to Ukraine. Remember, Trump did not release the aid to Ukraine, which led to his impeachment in the House of Representatives. Esper also did not want United States troops in the streets during the unrest over the summer and insisted that the Pentagon and the U.S. military not be part of any re-election. Meanwhile, what's interesting in some of the polling that came out after the election, right on national election night, polling released by the Public Opinion Strategies, it was a polling company, shows that Donald Trump's tough immigration policies made people less likely to vote for him. Todd Schultz breaks down the polling findings on Twitter. He is from the Public Opinion Strategies. He writes, the issue was significant net negative among both independents and Democrats, meaning if 27% were more likely to vote, independent voters were more likely to vote for Trump because of his immigration policies, but 48% of independent voters said less likely to vote for Donald Trump because of his independent policies. That could have been, when you talk about that real small sliver of people who voted for Trump in 2016 and then switched to the Democrats in 2020, that's that small sliver of people that, Trump won Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania by, thousands and thousands or 10 or 20, 30,000 votes. Well, Biden flipped it. It's that small sliver of people. Very interesting what they've come out with there. Meanwhile, this is pretty ridiculous, in a fitting final moment, the Trump campaign ended with the saddest press conference ever at the Four Seasons Total Landscaping Company. In a hilarious mistake, Trump announced on Twitter that the press conference would be held at the luxury hotel, the Four Seasons Hotel, this very fancy 5-star hotel in Philadelphia. I'm sure lots of people know the Four Seasons, one of the fanciest hotel chains in the world. But in fact, it was not held at the Four Seasons. It was held at a small landscaping company next door to the Four Seasons Hotel, at an adult bookstore and crematorium, in a gaffe so absurd that it honestly sounds like a joke or maybe an episode from Veep, but this is real. The real Four Seasons Hotel quickly issued a tweet that they were not hosting any Donald Trump press conference. Don't come here, distancing themselves from the train wreck. Giuliani, Trump's lawyer, told the tiny crowd that networks don't get to decide elections, shaking his hands to the sky while surrounded by Corey Lankowski and more unenthusiastic followers. It was a pathetic, delusional ending to the man who once was America's mayor. Members of the press started leaving after the major networks called the election for Joe Biden. Meanwhile, a 78-year-old employee at the Fantasy Island sex shop located besides the Four Seasons Total Landscaping Company expressed frustration to the Philadelphia Inquirer that his phone has been ringing off the hook since Saturday with prank callers asking, is Rudy Giuliani there? Whoops, I lost my spot. Let's see what happened. I lost my spot. Give me a second, guys. I apologize. It's one of those situations. And I don't believe I did that. I was going good for a while, right? I was going good for a while. Here it is. And there's that. And let's go back to where my spot was. And meanwhile, Housing and Urban Development Secretary Ben Carson tested positive for coronavirus this morning. His deputy chief of staff Coulter Baker confirmed to CNN. Carson attended the election night party where White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and nearly every other attendee was not wearing a mask. Meadows and 4 others in Trump's orbit subsequently tested positive last week. Carson was also spotted maskless at a Trump campaign rally in Michigan on October 30th. And guys, let me tell you what the science says right now, because I just went and got my COVID test yesterday. What the doctors told me was this, at least the doctors at City MD in New York City. They said for you to get COVID, I mean, anyone can get COVID, but the most likely scenario to get COVID is you and another person who has COVID are not wearing masks and you're within 6 feet of them for at least 15 minutes, you are extraordinarily likely to get COVID. If you are wearing masks and you are staying more than 6 feet away from somebody, it is extraordinarily unlikely to get coronavirus, which begs the question, why the hell are we just not all wearing masks? This would have all been done already. It would have all been done. Nevertheless, some really great news today. Drug maker Pfizer said today in an early look at data from its coronavirus vaccine shows that more than 90% of the people who took the vaccine had an effective response, and this vaccine prevented people from getting coronavirus. The interim analysis looked at the first 94 confirmed cases of COVID-19 among more than 43,000 volunteers, less than 10% infection rate. You know what that is equal to? That is equal, if this turns out to be a true infection rate, less than 10%, this is equal to the measles. It would make the Pfizer vaccine extraordinarily effective, as effective as measles. And how often do you hear people get measles anymore? Everyone takes a measles shot. No one gets measles anymore. And what Anthony Fauci had said in the past, he would be happy if it was 50% effective. If it's 90% effective, and it's really, truly, that is what happens, and you get a majority of the United States of America, a majority of the world, you're going to beat COVID, a majority of the world to take this vaccine, you are going to beat COVID. Now, there's some issues with the vaccine, obviously. People are scared to take it. There's a logistics problem of getting it out to people. But quite frankly, it's a great medical advance if, in fact, Pfizer and the U.S. government can convince Americans and convince the world it is safe to take this vaccine. If, in fact, it is 90% certain to prevent coronavirus, that is as good as the measles. And once the measles vaccine went into full effect by huge populations, basically measles has been, I don't want to say eradicated, but certainly eliminated as a problem for most of the Western world. Now, according to statistics from the Johns Hopkins University, there are now over 50 million coronavirus cases worldwide. In the United States, more than 10 million people have been diagnosed with COVID. The U.S. record, 105,927 new coronavirus cases Sunday. The 5th day in a row, cases topped more than 100,000. In one day, more than 100,000 people tested positive for coronavirus. I even read in the paper that our mayor here in New York City may be considering back a second lockdown here in New York. The United States is not alone in hitting frightening new records. More than 50 million coronavirus cases have been reported worldwide, with the United Kingdom, France, Russia, and Japan among the most hit. But we got to get into something we like to call Fuzzy Monday. Now, President-elect Biden's German Shepherd Major is going to be the first rescue dog in the White House. The Biden family adopted Major from the Delaware Humane Association in November 2018, 10 years after the couple welcomed their first German Shepherd. At the time, the Biden said in a statement, "We are so happy to welcome Major to the Biden family. We are so grateful to the Delaware Humane Association for their work in finding forever homes for Major and countless other animals." That's very nice. Meanwhile, a town in Kentucky has a new mayor, Wilbur. a 6-month-old French bulldog. Rabbit Hash, Kentucky, has never had an actual person or a human as a mayor. The tradition emerged in the late 1990s when a man named Don Clare thought it would be a great idea to elect some type of animal, not necessarily a canine, as mayor of town as a fundraising event. The town of just under 500 people is on the National Register of Historic Places. There's a thriving community of dog lovers in the town, and Wilbur himself was adopted 4 months ago and is considered an anomaly because he's an American Kennel Club registered purebred dog. You are looking right there at Wilbur, the mayor of, what is the name of the town? Rabbit Hash, Kentucky. Congratulations, Wilbur, on winning the mayorship. Meanwhile, a soccer-playing moose wandered onto a playing field in Homer, Alaska recently and showed some bystanders how it is done. Let's watch the video. What is this moose doing? Is he doing anything? Nope, we don't have a video. All right, trust me, it's funny. We'll come back to the moose another day. Meanwhile, an adorable cow in Virginia named Jenna loves attention so much that she gets greets and wants hugs from her owner every morning. After Jenna was born infertile and unable to produce milk, her dairy farmer wanted to kill her, but her daughter asked if the calf's life could be spared by finding her another home. Eventually, a mutual friend connected the farmer with Ryan Phillips and Mallory Sherman, who rescued Jenna. The pair run a nonprofit farmyard sanctuary in Williamsburg, Virginia, and are met each morning by Jenna, who moos loudly at the kitchen window. Phillips told SWNS Wire Services, Jenna treats me like I'm her best friend and saw me like I was her mom when she was little because I bought and fed her bottles. I spent every night talking and lying with her in the barn and making sure she was healthy and happy. Jenna lives at the Life with Pigs Farm Animal Sanctuary among fellow cows, as well as turkeys, chickens, dogs, and pigs. Says Phillips, we are truly best friends, and she's definitely just as much family as humans could be. All right, so that was our Fuzzy Monday on our pandemic quarantine pop-up edition. I do got to remind everybody, I do have to remind everybody to please make sure that you share this with your friends and family. I'm going to be looking at YouTube right now. Let's check out our YouTube page and see who's sharing, who's doing what. We have 26 thumbs up. I need a lot more thumbs up. And let's see what is happening on our Facebook page. And right. So let's start with Facebook. We're going to start with Facebook. We're going to try to answer as many questions as we can. And we're going to go to YouTube second. All right, let's go through Facebook and see what immigration questions we have in something we like to call. All right, so let's see what we got here. And let's let's see our first immigration question on Facebook. Where is the first question going to come from? I'm scrolling through, I'm scrolling down, and what are we going to find? Anita Nelson has her first question. Hello, Brad. Please, I have doubt on my divorce certificate and said I should respond within 30 days. What can I do? Anita, I don't understand. Who has doubt on your birth certificate? I'm not fully getting who has doubt on your birth certificate. So please fill me in a little bit on who has this doubt and what do you mean? What should you do? Let's see what else we got here. Sam British, hi, Uncle. I was arrested for domestic violence in 2019. The case was dropped as both were charged. I got a disposition, but does not know where it is. My BAWA just got approved, but nothing yet on the green card, and the record has since been expunged. Will this be a challenge for me? What can I do? When you say the case was dropped, you have that. I'm sure there's a police record of an arrest, so get that. And then get a record from the court that they have no record. And then you'll show that there was an arrest and there's no records from the court. And that should be, I think, sufficient if they destroyed all of the records. Anita Nelson asking the same question again. I'm not sure, Anita, what is the doubt that they have on your divorce decree? So you need to be a little more specific. Elizabeth Francis with a question. Uncle Brad, if a person gets a 4-year extension and living here for over 5 years, can they do citizenship, or will they have to wait until they get the 10-year green card? They can absolutely do citizenship. You can file for it, but you still have to get the I-751 approved. So although you're filing for citizenship, it doesn't mean that you forget the I-751. What happens is, hopefully at your citizenship interview, they will interview you for both citizenship and the I-751 together. But the answer is yes, you can do it. Yum Thickness with a question. And the question for Yum Thickness is, hi Brad, my passport is expired and I have biometrics on Friday. What can I do? It's being renewed. I have receipts. Yum, do you have any photo ID? Do you have your old passport that is expired? Hopefully you can bring your old passport that's expired, but you need some sort of photo identification, even your expired passport. Hopefully you didn't give it back. Zach Latif Rahman with a question. What is going to happen with marriage-based applications? They're going to continue. Law hasn't changed. Lisa Bling Rose. Who run the world, ladies? We know it's the women. Kamala Harris. Congratulations to her. Let's see what else. Other questions we have here. All right. Kate Simon with a question. Hey, Brad, good day. Question. When filling out the DS-260 form, do I need to put all the addresses in? What if I don't remember some? Also, do I need to put all the phone numbers I use? What if I don't remember some? Can I just put what I remember? Put what you remember, and then you could always write, there's some other addresses I don't recall, okay? But you really should get all of your addresses for certain, and you do the best that you can. Cindy Harris, just commenting on Trump, and let's see what else. All right, Zargoza family. My friend's elderly facility has died 3 patients before. No, okay. Let's see. Question, Brad. After the DS-260 sends in, how long before I get to do the medical and interview? Do you think it will be easier for someone? Well, right now there's a proclamation that Donald Trump has put into place, preventing most people, but not everybody, but most people from applying for their immigrant visas in another country. That proclamation is going to end on December 31st. Even if he extends it, Joe Biden is going to be the president by the second week of January. He is going to rescind it. The biggest problem that everybody is going to have is that there is going to be 8, 9, 10 months of people backed up to get visa appointments in another country at the U.S. embassies in Kingston and Port of Spain, in Africa, in Europe, in Asia, all over the place, South America, Central America. There's going to be a backup of 9 months. And it's not that there's going to be double the number of employees to interview. So as a result, even though they're going to start, I am sure once Joe Biden comes in, the interview process for immigrant visas for people who are qualified, there's such a backlog of people who just been delayed. It's going to take a long time. I don't have a good answer for you at the moment. We have to see what staffing they put in place next year. Ijawawi, I'm sorry if I butcher your name, Ijawawi. Ayawawi, perhaps, Tolawalas. I submitted my I-751 with more evidence as they requested. I filed for divorce a week of our 3 years of marriage. My ex-husband left the house and came home as he liked, on and off. I got tired with so many differences and I tried my best to make it work, but no. I filed in February 2020 and I got divorced in May of 2020, a week after the 3rd year anniversary. Can I file for citizenship while my I-751 is still with USCIS? Unfortunately, no, because you haven't had a green card now for 5 years, because you and your spouse are no longer together. You're going through a divorce. You have to base your citizenship on having a green card for 5 years, not 3 years. And it doesn't sound based on your question that you've had the green card now for 5 years. You can certainly still remove the conditions of your permanent residence. All you need to do is prove that you're divorced and it was a real marriage, but your citizenship, unfortunately, is going to be delayed a little bit. Michelle Lynn with a question. Hi, Brad. How long does it take from the time I file my N-400? Should I receive a letter to do my fingerprints? I have to file for my N-400 August 24th, but I haven't got a date for my biometrics. The citizenship is going to take about a year. That's what it's taking right now. Timo Banks. My friend is married but lost the wedding pics. Can he still file for adjustment of status without the pictures? Absolutely. There's lots of ways to prove it's a real marriage, but I have to tell you, I can't imagine marrying a woman and then telling her, babe, I lost the wedding pictures. That man's going to have a lot of making up to do. But yeah, there's other ways to prove it's a real marriage. Abby Wybe. Hi, Brad. Question. Derivative petition for son when he was under 21. Now he's over 21. Just one sibling under 21 got documents with mom. Mom's sister petitioned mom and kids at the same time in 2005. The docs received in 2018, but not for the older son. Well, once the derivative child turned 21, you got to qualify that kid who turned 21. It sounds like there was an F4 petition filed, brother, sister, or sister, sister. You have to qualify that child under the Child Status Protection Act. And unless you have an approved I-130 and you know the date it was filed and the date it was received and when that child turned 21 and when that child was eligible for a green card, it's a mathematical formula that you need that information to figure out. A lot of times the National Visa Center screws you over on those, so you definitely want a lawyer to take a second look at it. Patrona May with a question. Hey, Brad, my son did his interview in February, but it is affected by the proclamation. Will he have to do back a medical? Yes. If the medicals are going to be more than 6 months, he's going to have to do it again, unfortunately. Hey, Brad, what's the cost to apply for citizenship now? Well, Abigail Taylor Watson, the cost is, drum roll, please, $725. Elizabeth Francis, Uncle Brad, you read my question, but I didn't hear, did you say I can file for citizenship or will I have to wait on the I-751? You can, if I recall your question, Elizabeth, was that you've had your green card now, almost your conditional green card, almost, you're waiting on your conditional green card on the I-751 4 years. So you're more than 5 years since you got your conditional green card. So yes, you can file your citizenship now. KB with an extraordinarily long question. I hope my eyes don't burst reading it, but let's read it anyway. I filed for the I-130 and the I-45 concurrently and was above in 2016 with 2-year conditional green card. I guess approved. In 2018, we filed the I-751 to remove the conditions of my permanent residence. Since filing, like any other married couple, my husband and I have had our differences where both of us, we stepped out of our marriages. We were both unfaithful. Unfortunately, I ended up having a child for someone else. My husband and I since have reconciled. He takes care of our kids equally and accepts the child as his own. I was then asked to send in initial evidence. I sent bank statements, lease agreements, health insurance, life insurance, leading back to when we just got married to the present. I did not send the 2019 tax return as we filed jointly as usual, but my husband claimed the child on his taxes as well. We didn't want the child to be highlighted, so we sent all but that. In October 2020, we were issued an interview notice. Should we be worried? You don't need to, the answer is yes. You should be worried in the sense that when you step out of the marriage and have a child with another man, there's going to be the first thing that the government is going to say is, this is not a real marriage. Your relationship was with this other man. That's the first thing that they're going to say. So now you have, and do not hide it. If you try to hide the child and it's ultimately discovered, it's going to even make it look worse. You are better off to come out and tell it as it is, just like you told me here. It's a real marriage. We were both unfaithful. Doesn't mean we don't love each other. We worked it out. My husband's accepting this child now. The worst thing you can do is hide it. And now you have a rebuttable presumption that, well, the presumption is that you're in a business marriage, but you go in there and you come in with all your documents to prove it was real. In these situations, probably need a lawyer. I would say you probably need a lawyer in these situations, but for sure, don't hide the child. The last thing you want to do is hide the child. Let's see what else we got here. Give me a call. 1-800-529-5465. Let's see. Andrea Reed with a question. Good evening. I just got my advance parole. Is it safe to travel for 3 weeks to Jamaica in December? Bon voyage, Andrea Reed. Enjoy your trip. Don't go for more than a month. Barney Malenga with a question. We applied for our kids to come to the USA 8, 15, 18, and 20. Lots of kids. In March 2018, it's been 18 months now, and there is no response up to now. What could be the problem? Donald Trump, COVID, proclamations. There's multiple reasons what's the problem. What can I do? Call me. I got to see where you are with your case. And by the way, there's a telephone number scrolling on the bottom to call, 1-800-529-5465. Danny Bay, before all else. Danny Bay. Pertaining to the Adam Walsh Act, I have the psych evaluation. I have the police report, all the court records, the affidavit of evidence from friends, sex offender registry. Do I need anything else? Yes, you need to prove, I don't know who's the sex offender, whether it's Danny or the person you're married to, but whoever is the one who is applying for the green card needs to prove they are in no danger living with somebody who is on the sex offender registry. That's what you need. It's not about compiling documents. It's about proving you're in no danger. I'll take that back. I have never seen a situation where somebody got an Adam Walsh waiver approved without a lawyer. Wah Mahat with a question. Uncle Brad. This is not an immigration question. Okay. Can I expound on what happens to this country if Trump doesn't concede and transfer power? I'm getting worried. Well, we live in a democracy and we have checks and balances on everybody. So what is ultimately going to happen is this. There is going to come a point when the Supreme Court is going to decide on all of these Donald Trump lawsuits. And the Supreme Court is the law of the land. And if the Supreme Court says, Donald Trump, you lost, then he lost. And then the electors, the Electoral College is going to come together and they're going to vote. And that vote's going to be sometime towards the ends of December. And they're going to vote, and that becomes the official election to elect Joe Biden. And at that point, if he is not seceding power, well then, the Secret Service, the military, they have to escort him out of the White House because he's a trespasser. That's what would happen. So the only way, which would never happen, I can't imagine, the only way that Donald Trump stays in power is if the U.S. military decides that we are no longer a democracy and we're going to surround the White House and Donald Trump's our man. I can't imagine that's going to happen. And finally, Zaragoza fam. Hi, Brad. If the USCIS gives my daughter DNA extensions until December 14th, but until now the lab in the U.S. Embassy is still closed, when is the right time to mail or call the USCIS for an extension again? Now. Arfin Thacker, can my daughter file for the case? She has a permanent green card and my son is born here. He is 20 years old. My daughter's 25 years old. She married with citizen. She got permanent green card. Can you help me? Well, you can't file as a sister as a permanent resident for a 20-year-old. But if your son is 20, perhaps he could still be eligible for a SIJ, Special Immigrant Juvenile. You would need to call us to figure that out. First Lady Jody Joy with a question. Can someone travel from one state in America to another state in America without status? Absolutely. It happens every day. All right, let's go to YouTube and see what's going on YouTube. I don't know why my YouTube came out like this. All right, let's go this way is better. Saluba with a question, just wants to know how my weekend was. It was wonderful. Thank you, Saluba. And then has a question. Can a conditional green card holder apply for the health care insurance? Yes. You can apply for any health care insurance you want. Moya Lee, Uncle Brad, what can we do if a United States citizen stepfather filed for a child and USCIS has not approved it and it is over a year. The child is under 21. I need help. Mandamus, pre-litigation mandamus. I yell it all the time. If immigration delays your rights, delays your application, you can call immigration. You can ask your senator to call. You can ask your congressman to call. You can stand on your head. You can juggle balls outside immigration. You can yell at them as they go to work in the morning. They ain't going to do nothing until you threaten to sue them or sue them. It's called a mandamus or pre-litigation mandamus. You can call me and I can help you with that. Showman. I did an interview in September. I got an RFE in October. They asked for a current tax paper. My work permit is going to expire in 2021. The I-130 is approved. Should I wait or send to renew? Go renew it. Absolutely, Showman. You should be doing it today. Leslie Benoit. I have a pending adjustment of status with AVAWA. Right now, I just received an appointment for biometrics. What do I expect after my biometrics is cleared? You expect to get an interview for your green card. Anne Marie Anderson, how long can I stay in the shelter before I become a public charge? For as long as you want. Navdeep Rajput, my VAWA is currently pending. Can I file for no-fault divorce? Is it okay? Yes, it is okay to file for a divorce while your VAWA is pending. Just don't get remarried. MM, hi Brad, I filed for VAWA in September 2020. When should I expect a prima facie? In about 3 to 6 months from the time of filing. Paul Arujo, Brad, is my difference between congressional help or my SR to USCIS regains my 212 and what? Brad, is there any difference between congressional help or my SR? I don't know what SR to US. Service request to USCIS regarding my 212 and 601 waiver. No action is being taken 9 months now. It's taking over a year for the 212 and 601 waivers. Hang in there, okay? Your service request won't mean anything, and letters to Congress won't mean anything either. Veronica Smith, I overstayed my visa. Is my green card daughter file for me? I'm legally married, but my husband is in Jamaica. Your green card daughter cannot file for you. She has to be a citizen over 21. Noreen Shazard, bankruptcy could be bad for the N400. Please let me know. No, it cannot be bad for an N400. Bankruptcy has no effect on your N400 for citizenship. Rose Star, hi, can my I-751 still pending there? Send me a letter. They denied me. Can I apply for a travel document? Your I-751 is still pending, and they sent you a denial letter. Well, they either sent you a denial letter or it's still pending, Rose Star. But you can't get a travel document if it's denied. You're going to be put in deportation. LB Giss. I was recommended for approval on the N400 almost 2 months now and still no oath scheduled. Is that normal? I was told 3 weeks I can get a notice, but nothing since then. Yeah, 2 months, not so normal anymore. Give it another 2 or 3 weeks. If you haven't heard, give me a call. Explore everything. Hi, Brad. In the F2B category, when final action date current, it means the embassy's interview is coming. It means that you're eligible for a green card. That's what it means. Charles Williams, what is the latest update for the Liberian Refugee and Immigration Fairness Act, and why is it taking so long for interviews? I have not heard anything. Well, you got to file before December 21st, and hopefully you'll get an interview shortly. I haven't seen any interviews coming through either. SK, hi Brad, how long are the EB1 employment green cards valid for? Forever. They're permanent for life. German Mazzy, excuse me. Uncle Brad, do you know how long it takes to receive a receipt from USCIS? Today I've been waiting 3 weeks. It sometimes takes 4 to 6 weeks, actually. Jesus Christolian, can asylum seeker be legal gun owner in the USA? I don't know anything about applying for a gun. I've never applied for a gun in my life. I've never seen a license for a gun. I know nothing about getting a gun. But there is no law that's in the Immigration Nationality Act that an asylum seeker cannot have a gun. But I am sure that there are certain state and federal laws that say you have to be a U.S. citizen or a lawful resident. But I am not a gun advocate. I don't know anything about gun laws. So you're asking me more of a gun law and a licensing law than an immigration question. Butcherovich. Hello, Uncle Brad. What will happen for people who is waiting for asylum decision after being proved that they're approved, after being proved when applied to get their green card? Well, you can't get approved for your green card until your asylum is resolved. You would have to either withdraw your asylum claim or have it resolved. So I don't fully understand your question. So you need to maybe rewrite it. Hans Murray Genti, I went to a field office in February to get my passport stamped. I have not received the card yet. I would call the 1-800 number and see if it was mailed out to you. Rose Star, hi there. It denied me. They said they will send me to the judge. Then you cannot travel right now. You're in deportation, Rose Star. And if you leave, you self-deported. Donice Robinson, hey, Uncle Brad, how long after the biometrics should I look out for my EAD card? I did in October 2020. Hopefully about 90 days. Hans Murray Gentry has a question. After the judge approved me, what was his question, Hans Jerry? I don't remember what your question was. Go back and ask your question again because I don't remember what it was. All right. Let's see what else we have here on Facebook. First Lady Jody Joy with a question. Can someone travel from one state in America to another? Yes. Nikki Tria, last month my processing time was approaching May. Now it's January. USCIS is moving extra slow. You're telling me it's the pandemic and it's the pumpkin. Sharon Frith Jackson, my sister's green card will expire in August next year. How soon to start the process for a new one or the citizenship? Start the citizenship now if she's qualified, or apply for a new one 180 days before the expiration of her old green card. And Jessica Limi says, I've come up for air. Yes, but only one breath. Vivian Adeniju, how will the ban on Nigeria affect the filing for my children as a permanent resident? There's a ban, but file now. Every Nigerian should be filing now because you know Joe Biden's going to end the ban in 90 days. So if you're a Nigerian and you're like, should I file? Should I not file? Go file. Get your place on the waiting list. There's no reason not to file anymore. Elizabeth Darby, squad of Uncle Bran. I'm Brad, but it's okay. You can call me Bran Muffin. Question for you, please. Tell me how to buy the I-45 with the I-765. I'm sending the I-132, but I don't know how to buy them. You don't buy anything. You pay the filing fee. So the filing fee for the I-45 is $1,225. The filing fee for the, you're talking about the money orders. The filing fee for the I-130 is $535. So it's $1,225 for one money order, $1,225, $535 for the other. I guess she was talking about buying the money order. Now I understand her question. Annie Kim's with a question. Uncle Brat. All right, I was Bran, now I'm Brat. It's Brad, B-R-A-D. Don't forget. But you can call me Uncle Brat too. I've been called Brat by my mother and some other people too, sometimes. Not perfect. My nephew's wife filed an I-130 visa petition. They received a letter acknowledging and having a receipt number. Can they proceed with the rest of filing or wait for approval first? Well, I don't know. Your nephew's wife is a U.S. citizen. Is your nephew in the United States? How did your nephew come to America? Is 512 different from I-131? Yes. Faye Lannis with that question. Prince Godwin Embu. Hi, Brad. What happened if my biometric fingerprints were set by March 2020, could not hold because of the pandemic, and I haven't gotten a reappointment from USCIS? What should I do? Well, it depends what they're fingerprinting you for, Prince Goodwin Embu. If they already have your fingerprints because of the pandemic, they're waiving you to do it again. So, but if you've never fingerprinted and done a biometric, then you should be contacting immigration immediately. Oliver Abrazado. Uncle Brad, how are you? I am very good. What are the possibilities now? Is there any chance to get approved after being refused due to public charge and file an appeal to USCIS? Do not file an appeal. There is no appeal to file. If you got denied for being a public charge, refile again and do a better job. Don't file with the same stuff. Do a better job. Okay? Let's see. Samat Kandu. Hi, Brad. Soon after I get my EB1A green card, can I change my current job and whether I can change job to a different field? Well, Samrat, when you get your EB1, you got sponsored a job to work at this particular position for an indefinite period of time. So if you get your green card and the next day you quit and go somewhere else, they're going to say that was a BS job sponsorship. So you should stay there a few months minimally, so you don't have a problem filing for citizenship. Hey, Uncle Brad, is the president-elect Joe Biden hasn't said anything yet for asylum seekers that has been waiting forever to be interviewed? That is correct. He has not. We'll see what happens. Vivian Adejanju. Hi, Uncle Brad. Please, when filing for my husband as a permanent resident, do I include the kids or file separately for all of them? You could include the kids when filing for your husband. However, if you believe you're going to be a citizen during the process, as soon as you become a citizen, the kids are going to fall off. And then all of a sudden your husband's going to get a green card and the kids are going to be left behind. So if you believe that during this process you're going to become a citizen, then you should file separate applications for the children so they don't fall off the case. If you say, I'm not going to become a citizen for years and years and years and years and years, then you can put them all on one case because they won't fall off. Let's go back to YouTube and see what's going on. Hans Marat Genti. After a judge approved me, I went to the field office and I got the passport stamped in February. When I called, they said it's still pending for review. I still don't understand what you're talking about. So just be more specific. Tell me what's going on. You got approved by a judge for a green card. If you have not, you got approved for what? For an adjustment of status? You got approved for your asylum? I'm not sure what you got approved for. Okay. Somebody in Russian, I can't read Russian name, but it's a Russian name, says, hi, Brad, I got a question. I'm filing a VAWA case, but I have not sent it in yet, and my husband wants to go to do a divorce tomorrow. What to do? It's fine, let him divorce you. As long as you file a VAWA case within 2 years of a divorce, you're fine. So you don't have to feel pressure to file a VAWA before the divorce. Your husband can divorce you, and then you have to file the VAWA within 2 years of that. Nadine Sampson says, greeting, Brad. What are the current forms I should file to adjust my child status? Who's sponsoring your child? Nadine. So if you tell me who the petitioner is and what status your child is in now, I assume he's under 21. How did he come to the United States, or she? T-Mac with a question. Hi, Brad. Can owing a medical bill during childbirth in a private hospital in the USA prevent one from renewing her visitor's visa in a U.S. embassy in Nigeria? Yeah, because they're going to say you came to the United States to give birth. So it could be a big problem. Julu, is there any changes in marriage green card process? Not one change. Butcherovich. After being approved for asylum, I applied after 1 year, and I'm now waiting 4 years for an additional review on the background. What is happening? Okay, now I understand. You got your approval for your asylum. You waited 1 year. You filed an adjustment, and now you're waiting 4 years for your green card. You know what happened 4 years ago? Donald Trump came to become the president. And you know what also happened? He doesn't like immigrants. And you know what also happened? He's a jerk. So they purposely delay all this stuff. So what you need to do, Butcherovich, is file a mandamus. You can come to me to do it, and we'll complete your case. Because when you file an adjustment application, you're immediately eligible for a green card. Immediate doesn't mean 4 years later you're waiting. It's a violation of your rights. Oasis Adian. Hi, Brad. Is the 944 still active at the moment? Yes, the I-944 is still active. All right. We'll have more immigration questions tomorrow. If you enjoyed our show, please make sure to like and follow us. There's a little thumbs up button there on YouTube. You can press it. On Facebook, you could also share this with your friends and family. I hope I was helpful to everybody who was watching. Also, there is a telephone number scrolling on the bottom. If you want help from me, you could always give us a call at 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. And I know it's here somewhere. I know it's here somewhere. Where is it? Where could it be? Where is it? Let's see. Nope, that's not it. I know that I am broadcasting somewhere. I just don't see where I'm broadcasting from, but I know I'm definitely doing it. There's YouTube. There's a host chat. There's also more YouTube. I don't know where we are broadcasting from, but supposedly we're broadcasting, must be doing it from somewhere. All right, Jilly, I don't know the comments of the day because I'm delayed and I don't see where we are. So I'm not going to be able to do the comments of the day, but I will tell everybody that there were probably some beautiful comments today. So, and I don't know the poll either because I got screwed up here on my computer, Vivian. I don't have a poll. Give me a minute, guys, and let me figure this one out. Very, very, very confusing to me. Let's see. And there we are. All right. So there I am. All right. Now we are ready for comments of the day. And what's our first comment? Nikki Tria, thankfully, something great happened in 2020. Congratulations to the newly elected President Biden and Vice President. That is correct, Nikki. We finally had some decent news for the day. The next comment of the day is from Yabison. Yabison, congratulations, Uncle Brad, on our presidential election. You predicted correctly. Thank you for encouraging us. All right, way to go, Yabison. And our next comment of the day is Anne-Marie Anderson. Good evening, Brad. This was the first time I wished you had a show on Saturday. Squad up. I can't do it 7 days. Uncle Brad will end up in the hospital. 5 days is enough. Deion Watson, Brad, you are the best. If you say it is so, it goes. I like that, Deion Watson. Thank you very much for all your support and love, and thank you for all the support and love of everybody. I believe those were all of our comments of the day. We have our poll, and our poll is this the first time you are watching? 22 people said yes. 162 people said no. Most people have been watching for a time, but welcome to the 22 people who never watched us on Facebook before. Thank you all for watching. All of you 22 people who watched on Facebook, by the way, please like and subscribe on YouTube. No, I see, like and follow on Facebook. On YouTube, like and subscribe. And we will be back live tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Have a great evening. It's going to be a much better 2020-21 than it has been in 2020. I promise you all that. And we'll see you all tomorrow around 5:30, 6 o'clock for Brad Show Live. Thanks for watching.